Hi there, it's Dina from the Realize Foundation, and today I'm here with Dr. Jacquala, and we're going to talk about her chapter in the upcoming Scars to Stars #3 book. So welcome, Jacquala. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you for the invite. It's wonderful to be with you.
Thank you. Would you share with the listeners a little more about you and your chapter in the book and what you wrote about?
Wow, wonderful. Listen, well, I am Dr. Jacquala Shropshire. I am a graduate of Next Dimension University. I'll be graduating with my PhD as of September the 9th of 2023. So I am super excited. It's been a long road, and God has certainly been kind to me. So, just a little bit on myself. My career job is I work in the mental health field for the state of California as an independent contractor. I am contracted through the state to work with those who have physical and mental disabilities. And Dina, I've been doing that over 30 years. But it's been a pleasure and a joy. And I look at it as ministry. And because I get a chance to meet all types of people, um, and coaching them through their situations of life. And I tell you, it's helped me heal in my own life as I started out in my youth with some trauma issues. And here I am 60 years later and still dealing with a lot of mental health issues, but God has graced me to overcome.
Well, I'm glad that I got to meet you and that you're writing in this book. And I know your chapter has a lot of information for people that are trying to overcome adversity in their own lives
Yes.
and how you overcame so much. And do
Yeah.
you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, be happy to. My trauma started as a young girl, um, just trying to find love in all the wrong places and desperately wanting to be loved and not rejected and so I felt like I could never be myself, Dina.
Mhm.
And so I started trying to be what everybody presumed or wanted me to be. And that was such a great battle. And I had some behavioral issues. I remember my mom taking me back and forth to court because I was incorrigible. And she just couldn't understand it. My mom was the greatest mom. However, there was a great disconnect that I was so looking for in my youth with the relationship with my mother. And here I am 60 years later, and I talk to my mom sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. She lives on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, and how God has mended all those broken pieces.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's crazy how when you're young, you think, you have forever to live. And then, we get to our 50s and 60s and beyond, and we're thankful for every day because,
yes,
who knows? But it is those relationships that maybe we take for granted when we're younger. And as we get older, we really miss that and value that
yeah,
for sure. Um, so I do have one more question for you, and
sure.
and that is, being part of Scars to Stars and writing your story, what has that meant to you?
Oh my gosh, it has changed my life in so many ways because I actually was able to take what was in my mind and in my heart and put it on paper to let the world know. A lot of times when we go through incidents, we feel isolated and we feel like we're the only ones because we don't get to express. And even if we did talk to someone, they wouldn't quite understand where we're coming from. But this gave me a grand opportunity to put my thoughts on paper for people to read, because I'm a believer, Dina, nothing just happens. And that when people begin to pick up this book and they begin to read from each author's chapter, that they will start the healing processes of their own lives and be able to identify areas in their own lives that, hey, I wasn't alone. There is somebody just like me. And if God is doing it for them and brought them out, certainly they would do it for me.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that, because it is the mission at our core, is that people know they're not alone. And
Yes.
it's so important that there are multiple ways that people get that message. And sometimes people in a bad place like me, I was silent for 23 years about my suicide
Mhm.
attempt. And it was because I never felt like it was okay to talk about it, or I never met anybody that I knew had gone through something like that.
Yeah.
And so I did feel all alone in the world around that. And so I think if in that time frame I would have had one of these books, it would have changed everything.
Yeah.
It would have given me a way to reach out to somebody that I related to. And that's really where this all started, was like, how do we help people know they're not the only one going through whatever it is, because there's
Mhm.
probably thousands, if not millions, of other people that are going through something very similar. And we talk about the big thing of depression or anxiety or
Yeah.
PTSD, but there's also just the aloneness in your own world, because
Yeah.
you're well isolated due to the pandemic, but also like feeling alone even at your job. Like, I'm the only one that doesn't get this one thing, everybody else seems to be good at it, and I just am not. And what they don't know is probably the person working next to them is struggling with something very similar.
Exactly.
And so it's really important that we help get this message out of,
Mhm.
we're all broken people. We
Yes.
just have different brokenness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how do we relate to each other in a way where we can help each other?
Mhm. That's right. As you were talking, Dean, I was thinking about some of the things that I've experienced on my job, um, with the mental health. And a lot of times when they first meet me, they said, "Oh, you sound like a preacher." Well, it's not like I'm sounding like a preacher. I'm sounding like someone that loves and cares about you and your situation. And once they pick that up, it makes a world of difference, Dina. The responses, the interaction, and not only with them, I get to learn to know the family and build a bond with them, because we're all a team
Mhm.
for the purposes of helping someone else heal.
Absolutely. That's what the world should be about. Just
Yes.
helping each other and being kind to each other, and
Yes.
yeah, I agree.
But I gotta say, I must thank you for giving me the opportunity of being a part of what God has laid on your heart to do and the foundation. And it is extraordinary. And I work here also on 99.3 FM, KJBU radio station. And I tell you, I sit on the board here of the board of directors, and also I'm the vice president of radio management. And I tell you, I'm telling my board directors, everybody, about your foundation and how you are impacting the world, Dina. So for that, I say thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jacquala. That means a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
And so, if for anyone listening or watching this video, we're going to have our new book 3 out on September 22nd, 2023. And we will be posting very soon how to register for that event. It'll be 90 minutes. You'll get to meet and hear from all the authors involved. and it's going to be a great event like they always are. Nobody
Yeah.
ever wants to leave when we do these events. So I hope to see many people there, and I can't wait to celebrate all the people who have poured their heart and soul on these pages, and just for exactly what we're talking about. So you and people in the world will know they're not alone in their struggle.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, and I'm looking forward to getting this book in the world.
Yes. Yes, likewise. And I will continue spreading the good word about your foundation so that people can get involved, make donations, and see where they can plug in and do what the foundation is set out to do.
Thank you so much.
You're certainly welcome.